Hey Gemini, this is wishkotheferret. Thanks for hopping into the Ferret Den where we're keeping things warm and we're keeping things cozy. Today we have a reading for you for April 10th to the 16th. So, as always, Gemini, we're just going to jump right in. Drop into your heart space, let the dust spiritually, physically, and emotionally settle around and within you so that you can determine which messages are for you and which messages are for others. The intent is to uplift and empower. If you don't feel those things and you're feeling fear, you're feeling dejected or depressed, then this reading is not for you. Bounce out. That's not the intention that I'm laying here. The foundation of our reading is positivity. So, while you're getting centered, I will reach out to my guides and say my prayer. So thank you, Archangel Michael, for casting your light of protection around me at this time. Thank you, angel guides and spirit team. Hey, baby. This is my ferret, Oliver. He wants my attention. I'm going to continue now. Can I continue now? Thank you. Thank you, angel guides. Thank you, spirit team, for stepping forward and helping me facilitate this connection with Gemini, sun, moon, rising, or anyone who happens to be in need of a message and coming across this video at this time. Let's see what we have for the Gemini collective today. Okay, I feel like we're doing some work on our heart chakra at this time, or maybe like this last week when we were dabbling with the full moon in Libra. You were working with your heart chakra energy. It's our connection with the self. It's our connection with others. You have the Spirit Awakens card here. I embrace my soul purpose and align all aspects of my life to it fully. So you're just coming into a time where you're feeling more awake, more alive, and you are stepping into your purpose. You're recognizing it, and you are seeing the path to your purpose. There's something here about seeing the path forward. It's almost like some of you have the ability to see clairvoyantly, so you're like, when you're getting this information, you are seeing it in your mind's eye, or you are seeing, this can be something as simple as like, if you don't really know what it's like to see in your mind's eye, and there are different levels of vividness when we are speaking of clairvoyance. It starts in the imagination. I kid you not. I swear. it's in the imagination. The imagination is so closely connected to our divinity that it's so closely connected with our magic. That's why children, because their imaginations are very active, or people who are creatives, people who are actively tapping into that imagination, that's why a lot of them tend to be, you see often the link between creatives, or like the creative aspect linking to like, you know, mediumship, or like a spirit communication. And it's because exercising our imagination helps exercise our intuition, and it helps us work on our 5 senses, our 5 clairs, like the spiritual senses of like seeing, sound, taste, smell, feeling, like, you know, it's like the clairsentience, clairvoyance, clairaudience, blah, blah, blah. But in essence, you are a healer, because you also have the healer card here. I am loving and compassionate and able to bring healing to others. So you're recognizing that your path is to heal. You're kind of being guided. I'm getting the sense that some of you are, I guess if you're like into labels, there's something called like an earth angel or something. And I think we all can be earth angels and embrace that energy should we choose for that to be our path. But I feel like you are finding a path that calls to you now, that is having you embrace kind of like an earth angel energy, and you are like here for a specific purpose, you're here for a specific mission, and you know that you're a healer, and you're like seeing the path to carry that out. So that's really cool. Let's see what else you have. Some of you, I'm getting sense that some of you, this could be like a physical thing, like wanting to be a nurse or a doctor. This could be like a spiritual thing, like you could be a spiritual healer, or somebody who wants to, I just heard heal the mind. So you could be somebody that also wants to heal the mind as well, and help people through their struggles. And you can very easily be a healer through many different modalities. Writers, artists, because they reach people on a level, on more of like a subconscious level, they can actively teach through there too. They can actively heal through their works of art as well. So this isn't limited to just like the human services profession, if that's not something that you're going into. I'm hearing that you're meant to help the earth wake up. So this is, I usually don't, interesting. I don't typically get like, very like a call to arms message here. I usually don't get like a call to arms messages in readings. But this is kind of like letting you know, or they're telling me stay with the channel. They're just saying that this is kind of like maybe you've gone through a dark night of the soul recently, or you've like come out of like a situation that is lighting you up. And it's a transitionary time. And the reason I say it's a transitionary time right now, it's almost like you came out of something that made you realize that you need to take these next few steps in that direction. Or if you've been like dabbling with this inspiration that came to you of, oh, like I kind of want to do this with my life, or oh, I kind of want to start pouring my energy into this project or this hobby or this thing that could actually serve people very well. You have the flamingo spirit, embrace the in-between. So this is why I say like you're probably in a transitionary stage right now of being like you have one foot in one world and you have your other foot in the newer world. So it's almost like you are in the process of transitioning from like wherever you were at before into embracing your purpose more fully. And Spirit wants to assure you through the koala spirit that Spirit got a plan. I pulled the book on this card because one of the other signs got this card as well. I'm actually going to pull the book on this card because I think that we always hear that Spirit has a plan, but I think that when they go in depth, it's actually a very beautiful message here. So the message of this oracle card is, in nature, the koala moves slowly through the branches of the eucalyptus tree, leisurely chewing the leaves, reminding us that life is not a race or competition. Chasing around after every distraction can keep us from recognizing that we have all we need and that Spirit will always be there with gifts to sustain us. You are being asked to trust that by moving slowly with faith in the abundance that is everywhere, surrendering to a power greater than yourself, you will be able to experience the manifestation of your desire. As you take your time enjoying the riches available to you right now, sitting peacefully, you begin to radiate the joy and abundance you seek. Spirit is here to help you discover happiness, pleasure, and contentment. All gifts that are yours now and in the future. Have faith and trust in Spirit's plan for you and know that you are loved and cherished. So there's something here too about moving slowly and being in the now. I feel like some of you might okay, so I'm also okay, before I go off on that tangent, Spirit's kind of coming through and saying like what you're trying to step into is an oddity. So for some of you it could be odd, or it could be viewed as odd. Maybe, I don't know if you're like the first in your family to do it, or if like you're hanging out with a crowd of people that don't quite resonate with what you're going for, and they're like, what? You want to do that? Like they didn't see it coming, or like it's odd, like they consider it odd. Spirit doesn't think you are odd. Spirit thinks that you are awesome, and it's amazing that you're stepping into your purpose fully. But it's almost like the perception here is a little odd. And I also feel that there's something to be said here about like the moving slowly and the staying in the now and being present. That's going to help us hear Spirit's plan a lot louder. When we're moving slowly and when we're truly embracing the moment, I find that what helps me in terms of like hearing Spirit's messages and with Spirit communication, if I imagine roots coming out of my feet and into the ground, if I imagine staying grounded and focusing on my breathing, this isn't just an act of meditation. This is an act of staying present and being aware of the body. It's like the most present thing you can do is focusing on the breath, not rushing it, not slowing it down, keeping with your breath and truly putting your attention and focus on your body. I find that I get messages a lot louder that way. Like if Spirit says something and I'm like, what did you say? Like sometimes I'll ground myself and then I will hear it louder when I'm not paying attention or shifting my awareness out into the great unknown, and kind of like, because it almost feels like this isn't going to make sense to people who don't. I'm going to try to explain it the best way that I can, but it's almost like when I like try to reach out and speak
to spirit. It's like sometimes I imagine myself lifting up and out and swatting away at something. It's all, I call it going fishing into the void, because sometimes like throughout the day I'll hear stuff in the background, and I hear just a bunch of chatter. But if I actually turn my awareness to it and focus and like go fishing, I guess, sometimes I can fish up like a phrase or a conversation that someone's having, or like something that someone else is talking about. And I'm like, oh, okay, cool. Like, I got that. But grounding yourself, you can get things more directly. So I have this mediumship training deck with me by John Holland and Lauren Rainbow. And while you don't necessarily have to be a medium in order to resonate with these messages, it's basically our connection to spirit, especially if you have the card Spirit Has a Plan. You might not be trusting in the plan. So connecting with your intuition and getting focused on your goals is going to help you receive that information a lot easier, either through your dreams or through just standard meditation. So you have soul connection here. And these have like textual blurbs on the back, so I'm going to read that. The same energy that makes up the stars in the sky, which is the same energy that's coursing through the universe, is in each and every one of us. We're all made of the same energy, and as souls, we are always connected to everything and each other. It's not always easy to see others or ourselves as a soul or a spiritual being. We're often too caught up living in the physical world and forget our very own divine nature. This card encourages you to appreciate and see people on a soul level. This will help you express the love through your heart and experience interactions with others as a soul. It may be somewhat hard at times, especially when meeting difficult people, but what you're doing is trying to make a soul-to-soul connection. Try to relate to them from a divine perspective, instead of responding purely by what your eyes see or your ears hear. By doing so, you will see the real person and appreciate the good that's inside each and every one of us. Occasionally, that divinity, that goodness that you know is there, may be buried deep due to past hurts, protective layers, or life conditioning. Seeing others as a soul first will help you to open up your heart so you have a better connection with people here. In doing so, your compassion will significantly enhance your spiritual connections to those in the spirit world. Again, I feel like this is going to help your heart chakra. Remember when I said that at the beginning? I feel like this is working on your heart chakra, your connection to others, your connection with the self, your overall like interconnectedness with the rest of the world, like that feeling of oneness. Okay? And, oh, interesting. You also have thought power. The power of thought has literally no limitations. Parents and their children, husbands and wives, and longtime partners are known to finish each other's sentences or utter identical words at the same exact time. We laugh when this happens, putting it down to coincidence. But could it be something more? How can we explain when family members just know when something's wrong with one another? Why is it that people simply think of someone they haven't seen in a long time only to run into them later that day? One can't just put this down to luck or fate. It's actually what's known as telepathy, the ability to send and receive messages and information through the mind without the use of one's physical senses. Typically, most mediums communicate with the spirit world using telepathy, which is a form of mental mediumship. The energy of thought is a spiritual power, and this ability is fueled by the power of love. To strengthen your telepathic ability, you can ask a friend to help you with the following exercise. Have them choose a photo, a number, a color, or an image from another room or location. Then have them send you mentally what they choose. Just relax and be open and receptive. Give off exactly what you receive. It sounds simple, but the more you practice, the stronger your communication with the spirit world can become. So this is in terms of your thinking power too. This is in terms of not only like your thoughts carry. Your thoughts can carry, because we all, whether we realize it or not, we all experience a form of telepathy on a daily basis because we're all interconnected and we're all connected. I don't know. It's almost like your thoughts, when you're thinking things, it's putting it out there and it has power. So this isn't like to say that you should fear your thoughts. When they're powered by fear, they're not as strong. So I feel like there would have to be a lot of fear present in order for some type of icky manifestation to come about. And that's not really how manifestation works. When you're thinking of the law of attraction or the law of manifestation, people shouldn't fear the power of manifesting. Like if you find that you're a negative person and you're trying to change that and you're so worried because you're like, oh my gosh, I'm going to negatively manifest like more negative things in my life. Like, no. Because the love and intention behind your positive manifestations matter more. Love is way more powerful than fear in every respect of the word. It is not a scale of suffering on one, or like fear on one side and then love on the other. Both are powerful, but I wouldn't say they're equally powerful because we are essences, or we are beings of divine love. So love is our, as you could say, love is our love language, or love is our soul language. Fear is not, which is why it's hard for us to work with fear. Like, we experience it all the time, but just as like something that I've come across, it seems to be a congruent thought. Like, it's same thing, different forms of words that are spoken throughout the multiple texts that I've read when studying spirit communication. Okay, and for your tarot cards, it's freaking out. It's all over the place. Some of you, you are healing a wounded heart. Sorry, my deck is exploding. Hang on. Some of you, you're healing a wounded heart. There could have been a disappointment with a past relationship. I don't know why. We have like the Five of Cups, the Emperor, and the Ace of Cups. Perhaps there was, and this doesn't have to be a relationship, this could have been a job or something. This could have been some type of situation in which a lot of masculine energy was present. And again, everybody holds masculine and feminine energy. This doesn't have to be a man that like you said goodbye to or anything like that. This is somebody with a lot of masculine energy, this other figure that they could have been authoritarian, they could have been a little controlling, and they don't have to be, but there's some type of, the Emperor is indicating that there was some type of masculine presence here, or there was a lot of masculine energy present, or maybe you just didn't feel like that person had a lot of the control, whereas you didn't, or maybe that's how you felt. But this was somebody that you expected to receive like an Ace of Cups from. This was kind of like, this is dealing with matters of the heart. This is talking about like it doesn't have to be romantic relationships, but this is somebody who you expected a wonderful partnership to happen. Either as like friends or like working with a colleague or something. You just expected something to be overflowing, but you were ultimately disappointed with the Five of Cups here, and it led to some type of heartbreak with like the Three of Swords. This is like pain, suffering, grief. Oftentimes the Three of Swords does pop up, yes, when we are indicating a tough time that we're going through, but at the same time, this suffering can be exacerbated in a way if you focus on it. So oftentimes, the turmoil of a broken heart can be made worse by focusing on it. And yeah, like you can argue, like we always have to work through our own, we have to work through things, we have to process things and acknowledge them for what they are, but it has to be a constructive way, which is why I recommend anybody who has the resources to go to therapy, not trying to push anyone or like trigger anyone to not go, but I think therapy can benefit everybody. And it's just a useful resource if that's something that you are able to get. If not, then there are tons of self-help resources online. I'm assuming if you're watching this video, then you have access to the rest of the web, or at least some parts of it where you can look up some self-help stuff that can help you work through your emotions and help process these things. And it's going to take a little bit of dedication. It's going to take a little bit of time, but even if you're just kind of sitting there not, like you can ruminate, but have it not be constructive, and then the pain of the Three of Swords would get worse. So I think that processing is like a very targeted, it doesn't necessarily have to be structured, but it's very targeted. Either you can follow like a format, or you can follow your intuition to uncover the things that need to be said, or things to be recognized so that you can process things. The only problem, I guess, is that when you are experiencing high levels of emotion, it is harder to connect with your intuition, just because your emotions are tied to your intuition in a way, but it's harder to hear what has to be done, especially when oftentimes the emotions and the intuition don't typically line up because they're two different things. But like it's hard when you're experiencing pain to basically like, you really have to like flag down your intuition in this sense. So I mean, that's my rant on that. But but that was just a situation that some of you could be dealing with, a heartbreak. So And just making sure that you're constructively looking at it and not just ruminating or worrying about it or being upset over it. Like, just constructively looking at it's going to benefit you this week. You have the Six of Wands. This is taking charge, taking the lead, moving forward. And I feel like some of you aren't actually focused on this heartbreak. You have this little bit of heartbreak, but, you know, like I said, just make sure you're not ruminating in it. But I feel like a lot of you aren't. You have the opportunity here, if you're not already, you have the opportunity here to move forward with long, strong, and tough strides. The Six of Wands is about taking your power and leading your people off into victory. Leading your army, leading spirit, whatever. Like, spirit's like, okay, well, you lead the way. So, like, this card sometimes pops up when I ask a question. And I'm like, okay, what do we do? Should I do this or that? And then when I get the Six of Wands, I start laughing because I'm like, that wasn't what I was expecting. Because usually it's like I'm asking for clarity, and then they'll say like, okay, but what do you pick? We'll follow your lead. And I'm like, hello, but I mean, it's our power of choice. So whatever it is, you're moving forward. You're making long, like I said, long, tough strides towards it. You have the Eight of Pentacles here, which indicates long work. Could be a little mundane work, but I feel like it's just long, steady work. You're really focusing on your goals, dreams, passions. You're focusing on something. Maybe you are just focusing on your work. Some of you are working on achieving your dream job. Some of you might already be living your dream job. Either way, you're focused with something on work. Some of you could also just be like, just working a lot this week and just kind of like using that to help, like, you know, get you back on track or like help you feel a little bit more grounded and stable again. The Hanged Man here, the Hanged Man indicates a change in perspective. I feel like this change of perspective will come from working your butt off at this and processing things. But it's just taking charge and moving forward on making your manifestations happen, making your dreams and your goals happen. You're putting in the work with the Eight of Pentacles, I see, and your change in perspective will follow with action. So make sure that you are doing what you are feeling called to do and that you are further aligning. That's how you can align within like an upgraded perspective or with like a better perspective, one that you need in order to fulfill more of your manifestations. Actually taking the steps towards those changes and actually committing to action is what helps us change our experiences and our worldviews. So I like that we're not just in our minds for this cycle, Gemini. I love that you're like getting out there and taking charge. So last but not least, because we read Tarot and Oracle, I'm going to roll the angel dice for you to see what I can send you on your way with. 140, I'm pulling from Angel Numbers by Kyle Gray, as always. You are one with God and angels. Stand strong. I just said you were standing strong, tall. I just said, guys. Okay, and this doesn't mean like the religious Christianity God. This can be source, love, the universe, whatever it is that you connect with. And I always say these messages twice, so I'll say it again. You are one with God and angels. Stand strong. So again, just that Six of Wands seems to be like the center of your reading. It's like you're taking charge and moving forward, and you know, Spirit is following your lead. They're co-creating with you, and that's awesome, and I love to see it. But anyway, Gemini, that is what I have for you today. Thank you so much for allowing me to channel. Thank you to your spirit team, my spirit team, and all the angel guides involved for helping me channel this message for you. I love you, I love you, I love you, and I'll see you next time.